Hey everyone, welcome to Alumless. Thank you so much for listening. Today is Friday, April 26th, and this is the Alumni Engagement with a Career Twist edition. I am Ryan Catherwood, and I'm joined by Chris Marshall, founder and CEO of CMAC. Hey, Chris.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good to see you. As always, on the show, we talk about engagement strategies in advancement. Today, we are pre-recorded, but we will be checking the comments section of the LinkedIn event. So please do chime in with a question or a comment, and we will be sure to get back with you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast edition of Alumless to hear our 30-minute bonus segment with today's special guest, Sallie Sistare from Denison University, and all of our special guests each week. We are grateful for the partnership we have with Max Leiston and the team at Protopia. They are huge supporters of the show, and we are big supporters of them. Protopia has created a transformational AI-powered technology that matches questions from students or recent graduates with alumni all over the world that are perfectly positioned to answer them. Without asking alumni to be mentors or participate in programs spread out over months or sign up for an app or a platform, Protopia makes scaling introductions simple. Questions get submitted through Protopia's AI, and that does all the work. Protopia can even target stakeholders like young alumni or lapsed donors and provide them with a meaningful volunteer experience. Visit protopia.co/alumless for more details and check out the technology that schools like Duke. Our special guest today from Denison is a Protopia user. Florida State, the London School of Economics, and several others. Find out what they're doing to make alumni networks available to everyone. All right. Well, we are in the saddle again, Chris. Good to see you. We had the chance to connect on a couple of items yesterday, but you were traveling last week. You had the unfortunate turn of events to find yourself doing some client work in Hawaii, which I'm sure that was frustrating. But you've mentioned Maui, the school that you were working with, Seabury Hall, is there on Maui. And I think you actually mentioned, the fires on a previous episode. And I thought maybe we could kind of just start by your reflections from that trip and kind of what you saw from your trip to Maui.
Yeah, working in paradise is never a bad thing. And it's always the places like that where my family wants to come with me on the trip. So we had a little extended part for a family vacation. I spent 3 days with the folks at Seabury Hall. It's a grade 6 through 12 independent school. It's phenomenal, really interesting place. And they're doing well. They're coming through the fires. They weren't directly affected by it, but the whole island was affected by it, no matter where you were. But it's an interesting time. I was supposed to be there last fall, right after it happened. And of course, we moved it to the spring and just got back, and I'll be writing up their report pretty soon on their advancement operation. So it's a good visit though.
Yeah, I bet it was. And working in paradise, as you say, is pretty great. I need to figure out how to find me a client in paradise as well. But look, every school, whether it's a college prep academy like Seabury Hall or colleges or universities of different shapes and sizes, have to differentiate themselves in the market. And we're definitely going through a period of massive disruption when it comes to enrollment. But what have you seen as far as private liberal arts colleges working to differentiate themselves?
Yeah, it's a really interesting time. Of course, you mentioned the enrollment struggles. I mean, as we see this, this notorious demographic cliff coming for all these schools that are trying to enroll an incoming class, and there are less students available, and these are private, relatively speaking, expensive institutions, and schools are struggling. And my big worry on this topic is how schools are surviving around the whole tuition discount issue. They're getting classes, but they're paying a lot to get that class filled. And what schools are doing, I'll give you a couple examples I wrote down. So a place like Rollins College, I spent a lot of time with, they're doubling down on liberal arts as a foundation for a career in any area, especially they have a business school, so they actually leverage that really well. Franklin and Marshall, they're similarly, but they're also focusing on student experience very strongly in their marketing. High Point University, as you know, Ryan, they talk about their life skills as part of their education. And of course, Denison will bring Sallie out here. They talk about it. The president talks about it. Liberal arts education with a career twist is the line he uses to describe it. So they really differentiated themselves in the marketplace for that reason. And I think, the best schools are going to do that and keep themselves afloat through all this. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out across the country, though.
Yeah, what I love about the liberal arts is that really the liberal arts promise is that you can major in whatever you want and
Yeah.
have whatever career you may want, and they don't have to necessarily be directly linked, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think our work, in alumni engagement, the partnership between alumni and career services, arming students and recent graduates with the knowledge that they need to understand how hiring works,
Yep.
how referral systems work, right? So that you can be a biology major, but get a job working at a museum because you're able to talk to the right people and let them know about your interests and establish those sets of connections. So
architecture major right here. I went to Lehigh University, which is not a liberal arts school, but there's an arts and science college. My experience is very much liberal arts, and architecture degree. I always say that I learned how to learn, and in some ways I learned how to lead, and different experiences outside the classroom. And that's what served me well. I mean, I was a swimming coach and an alumni leader and now a consultant. And I've never used my architecture degree, but I learned the other things that I can apply to the rest of my life. So, yep.
Yeah, I was a rhetoric and communication studies major, and I just tell people I majored in bullshitting, which is appropriate for hosting a podcast, I
guess. You're good at it, so.
All right, well, let's bring out our special guest for today, Sallie Sistare. How are you?
I'm great, Ryan. How are you?
What a way to come in on that, huh, Sallie?
Yeah, that was a fun moment to drop in on there. I think that might have been my first 4-letter swear on this podcast. I know you've dropped a few.
You're correct. I'm impressed. So
yeah,
I've thrown a few, but Ryan's kept it clean until right then. So
49 episodes in. Sallie is the executive director of Alumni and Family Engagement at Denison University. Last week, we promoted the show, Sallie, this week, and we mentioned it last week, right? Liberal arts college with a career twist. That's Denison, how they're working to differentiate in the market. But what's that all about? How is the school sort of working to bring that brand promise to life?
So I would say probably about 4 or 5 years ago, Ryan, we doubled down and had a huge investment in the Career Center. So it's called the Knowlton Center. That is the foundation that provides grant and sponsorship money for it. And it essentially is like careers are infused in every aspect of Denison. So in the classroom, obviously in the student organizations, as well as in the Knowlton Center. And so, we have a lot of activities that take students on the road to explore careers and industries. We do a lot of topics and workshops on campus. Educating them on the aspects of career. So everything is infused, right? Our students get a phenomenal education. We talk about it as the power of at Denison, which I'm happy to talk a little bit more about. But how are we preparing them for their professional journey afterwards? And so we don't make the promise, right? But we have a journey program that essentially takes all sophomores, or we want all sophomores to go through it, that are learning all aspects of career. So it really is infused in every single element of their education to prepare them for what's after Denison.
We're going to talk about your journey over the last year in alumni engagement, but rewind before you arrived 4 or 5 years ago, as you said, Knowlton went through a similar journey. Their staff increased significantly. There was a major institutional investment in that operation. Do you remember the size of what it was and where it is today?
Yeah, I want to say they were probably like 8 to 10, right? Around that range. And now they're over 30 individuals that on a daily basis are thinking about careers and working with our students.
So a liberal arts institution with 30 people in the career office would be a dream for many career offices in any size school out there. So
yeah. That's the truth. And the reporting line there for this career center is through the academic affairs, or is it?
Yes, through the provost office.
Yeah. And that's really the way. I mean, I've always been an advocate for the advancement aligned career services office, but it really isn't unless the provost is bought in that you get true equity across the university, ensuring that all students get these narratives into their educational experience, because let's face it, a lot of school students only do stuff when they're required to do it.
Right.
And that's, that's sort of the academy is where the requirements are live on a regular basis through the curriculum. But so your work in the Alumni Center, Alumni and Family Engagement, you are, of course, tasked with kind of building a program that matches that secret sauce, right? With the career twist, or maybe not. Maybe you're sort of thinking about it differently. But what say you? How are you thinking about sort of building the career or building the Alumni Family Engagement program to kind of match that secret sauce?
So Ryan, we have, with Chris's help as our consultant, we incorporated that into our strategic plan. We just launched that this fall and takes us through fiscal year 27. So one of the key priorities is the professional journey, right? And so Knowlton Center team is absolutely one of our key partners on campus. In fact, we added a role to the AFE team that is fully focused on the professional journey. So that priority. And Julie Tucker, who is the individual in that position, and Ryan Breckbill from Knowlton Center are literally working together, talking every single day. It is a key priority for us. Denison already had a lot of alumni involvement in the career space. I will say I've been very impressed with how many professors actually are bringing alumni back on a very consistent basis. It's more than I've ever seen in any place that I've been. So for us, it's the intentionality, it's connecting dots. It's, again, partnering with Knowlton Center so that we can elevate what we are providing, enhance that. And then we're looking at it, obviously, students are critically important, right? Like we have to prepare them for success and graduate, but it's also, what are we doing with our alumni? And we've always had the promise at Denison that we would support them for the first 5 years, but we really didn't talk about it, right? Because we weren't really sure if we had the resources to support that. With this strategic plan, like we are really promoting that heavily and letting student or young alumni know that we're there for them. We're particularly focused on that 0 to 5 year range because of the career pivots that we see. Kind of like Chris said, architecture major, and he didn't use that in his career, right? We get a lot of stories like that of, oh yeah, I was a chemistry major, but now I'm, working over here in business. So our goal is to be able to support that. We talk about that we want to be align and support our alumni all through their lifelong journey, including their career. So we're really, really honed in on that.
Sallie, you mentioned the growth of Knowlton, 8 to 10 to over 30 people. You're on a similar journey. I don't know if it's going to be quite that scale, but I know you're on a path for some growth there, and you're creating an organizational structure that's going to align to match some of the planning work that you and I have worked on together. Take us through that process and your journey and kind of where you are right now, and maybe even put a plug in because you have some open positions, I know. So this is your
So yeah, the strategic plan really gave us the opportunity, to look at the staff and how they were lined up, right? The very much generalist is how I inherited a team. And so we have had the chance to, again, look at what are our key priorities. There are 5 priorities in that strategic plan, and then align the staff accordingly. So we also were able to propose new positions. So, really, really lucky at the resources at Denison. I realize we're in a very blessed position that others don't necessarily have that luxury to. So I don't take this for granted. But we got 6 brand new roles, FTE roles, with the strategic plan that, were not in place before, and then realigned several of those positions as well, kind of focusing in their responsibilities on the key areas.
What were you before, and where will you be when it's all done?
I think we were at 11 or 12 before, and when it's all said and done, we will be at 18 for Alumni and Family Engagement. And 2 of those individuals are So Julie Tucker and Sarah Giovanelli are the team. They have the professional journey, but they also have family engagement. So probably 80% of their time is focused on the professional journey, and then 20% on family engagement. And everyone else is focused on alumni engagement.
Right. So, and on a base of about 30,000 alumni, what's the number you guys use for your alumni population?
Living contactable, we're a little under 30,000, about 29,000.
So folks listening to this are going to be jealous of your situation, because you're going to end up with 18 staff for about 28,000 alums. That's a great ratio. Yeah. So good for
Listen,
you.
I've been in that place before, though, right?
We're the other side of that, right?
Yeah, on the other side of it. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's truly a bounty, and I'm sure you're having lots of success. It's a school with great school pride for the alma mater. I'm sure you've discovered what programs have been successful so far, and what have you kind of noticed that you're like, yeah, we're going to double down on that effort.
Yeah. So for probably about 4 years now, we have been doing a program called Remix. It is a professional program focused in on various industries. And so it was called Remix because it's essentially you bring all the generations in, right? Students, alumni from any age, and you put them together, right? Centered around a variety of topics. We just hosted one a week and a half ago for women. So it was Remix and Women. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we had over 200 students, about 80 alumni, and the momentum and the conversations, it just was unbelievable. So that program has shown great success for us. It started with the entrepreneurial community. We still do that every fall. And now in the spring, we add a new edit to it, right? New addition. So next spring, we'll actually do it for the arts. So our arts alumni and community. The committee's already started. Really, really excited about that. Let me also give a shout out to your sponsor. That's the other program that I want to highlight that is working incredibly well for Denison is Protopia. We call it Ask a Denisonian. And we are getting just so much good activity and engagement through that. Alumni who have not engaged with the university in quite a while, right, are hearing from students with good questions or connecting with them. We're bringing in identifying volunteers from that. I can't speak highly enough. We're basically right at a year of since our soft launch of it. And it has been a tremendous impact for us.
What do you think's been the key to the success of Protopia so far?
It is infused in every aspect of campus, right? So at Knowlton Center, there are, I believe, 10 career coaches. I might have my number wrong in that, but that is infused in their conversations with students every single day. Faculty are using it. In fact, our faculty are actually using the program themselves to identify alumni to come and speak to their classrooms, right? So are they traveling to, taking students to DC or New York or wherever, and they're using Ask a Denisonian to identify alumni that they can, visit while they're there. So again, it's infused in everything that we do, and that is what's made it really successful.
Yeah, it can't just be another tool in the toolkit, right? It's got to be a positioned centrally and across the university as a really important engagement initiative university-wide, I think, to kind of see the results that you're getting. But they are real. There's a real opportunity there. And it's one I spent a couple of years working with Max and the team at Protopia, and always thought to myself, that would definitely be a tool that I would use, if I was in the position to be leading a team, for the reasons that you just described. The potential for engagement is substantial, and it's great that you've been able to realize it.
Those same reasons and attributes that you just pointed out, though, are true about any technology solution.
Yeah.
But Protopia in particular, what Denison is the case study in it, because they've used it and it infused across everything they do. And that's the way for any technology tool to work. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah. But it means partnerships,
Exactly.
it means strong relationships. It means it can't operate in a silo over in advancement, right? It requires collaborators. And that's not always the easiest thing at some universities, right? There's often not necessarily a culture of that type of collaboration. And it's more, this is mine and that's yours, and we do our things.
Right.
I've got my metrics, and you've got yours, and we're just going to stay over here in our side and do it. But Chris, you've had a front row seat to the growth at Denison. You've been to campus a few times. You've worked with Sallie and the team there for quite a while now. What have you noticed about the trajectory that they're on, or just sort of reflections in general about the university?
Well, there's the fact that Sallie's sitting there might be partly to blame me on, or credit, depending on how she enjoys the role. But about a year in, it's credit, I think, so far.
It's a credit, yes, absolutely. No place else I'd rather be.
Yeah. So I started working with them before Sallie was there, and got to know from a different level. And when Sallie and I had the conversation about the opportunity, I was like, this is the place that's going to be growing, and you're going to want to be part of it. So anyway, that was a fun sort of behind the scenes role I played there. But what I've noticed, most importantly, is that it started, my first involvement was with the vice president, who introduced me to the president, who had me speak to their board of trustees about the importance of alumni engagement, and took that and with investment and full support and full engagement of all the way up to like I said, the board of trustees and the president. They are all in on building an alumni engagement, just like they did with the Career Center. They had the same exact mentality going into this next phase that they're in right now around alumni engagement, because they think of it that seriously. And there's not a lot of places that have done it at that level. And I can say I've met probably 300 college presidents in my career, and I can count on one hand the ones that fall into the category of visionary and amazing and leader and all the great things we can say about the president at Denison, Adam, who is just a superstar. And when you get that support from a guy like that, the board buys in, the rest of the leadership team at the university buys in, we bring in the right leader, and on and on. So board of trustee, president, and vice presidential support for this has been the key, I think, in making this work. And it's been fun to watch that unfold.
Yeah, Adam Weinberg is a dynamic leader. He is phenomenal, right? Ryan, the other thing that really helps us too is, so we do presidential receptions, taking him on the road and sharing updates of what's happening at campus. And one of the things he continues to share in his remarks is ask a Denisonian. So go back to that, right? Just encouraging alumni, if they haven't received a question yet, they likely will, and be responsive, and that it's as a resource for them as well. So he's tremendous.
Sallie, not all of it's been roses and fun. There have been some growing pains, of course, like every leader goes through some challenges in the role. And what have been yours so far, and what are you doing about them?
Yeah, I will say though, Chris, everybody's been very open and receptive, right? I remember actually last Friday was my 1 year anniversary from the date I interviewed with Denison. And so the team was together on Friday morning, and I'm like, do you all remember when we were sitting around this table, right? And we talked about change. And can you embrace change? How do you feel about that, right? So we're not changing for just a change. We're changing very strategically, right? Because of the impact that it makes and propelling Denison forward, continuing to help it thrive. So I think, there are some things that we are doing a little different that maybe have always been traditional for Denison. And there are certainly alumni who hold dear to the tradition as it's been. So it's navigating those conversations. It's, showing the why we're doing this, how this will help Denison grow, how this will help us engage alumni on a higher level. So that is really, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of conversation and a lot of listening as well, right? It's hearing their thoughts and their feedback. So, I would say overall, it has been very, very positive, but anytime you're going to come in and, develop a program or make changes, there are going to be some growing pains with that.
One of the other areas you and I've talked about is the pace of growth and hiring new positions. You had some vacancies and then these new positions, and all of a sudden you have these trying to find talent has been a challenge, frankly. I mean, to get the right people in the right roles. And I love the fact that you're picky isn't the right word, but you want the right people. You want the right team. So you're not going to settle for, you're going to keep looking until you find it. And where are you now? Give me a quick sense of how many jobs vacant still. And
well, we've had 3 hires. We're about to make an offer probably for 2 more. So that fills 5. Now, one of those was a vacant, like someone left and we're filling it, right? But 3 of the new positions, we have hired phenomenal individuals to support. Julie Tucker would be a 4th. She came in 6 months ago. We brought her internally. So we're, I think, very close. We've got a volunteer engagement role that we're about to make an offer. We've got an events role that hopefully by the end of the week we'll be making an offer. But we do have 2 new roles that one role that just was posted and one that we've reposted. So we are Denison, affinity is incredibly strong, right? And affinity, you can anywhere, right? You can define that in 1,000 different ways. So we've created a position that will be focused on managing our affinity engagement. And so we just reposted that one yesterday. Really need to make sure we get the right fit, person with the right skill set, who's had volunteer management, has good communication skills, and really knows how to build that consensus. And then we are hiring for an early engagement position. So have a team member who is departing. She's moving back to closer to be with family. So that position will be focused on young alumni and student programming. So
if you're listening to this and you're interested in an affinity position or student young alumni position at Denison, reach out to Sallie.
Right. And we'll be hiring another volunteer engagement role once the senior associate director is named. Then we have a second position to support that area. So that will come on board here in the next month, I hope.
All right.
Exciting times at Denison.
Yes.
Sallie, we talked a little bit about the Knowlton Center for Career Exploration and the partnership that you have worked to develop over the last year. I wanted to ask you again about that relationship, how you stay in lockstep with that group, but also thinking about other units around campus. Where do you prioritize, spending time developing partnerships, collaborative opportunities? What's really been where have you sort of focused your time, energy, and attention this first year and building those relationships around campus? And how are you thinking about that in the future?
Great question, Ryan. So for me, in the first 6 to 9 months, it has literally been the journey around campus, right? Lots of meetings, meeting with faculty chairs, different department heads, different, units, et cetera, just to have a conversation about what type of programming that they do, how are alumni involved, are there opportunities for alumni involvement that we could capitalize on if they aren't already doing it, and then just talking about how our team can be helpful in that. And so, Knowlton Center specifically, like that partnership, we were meeting probably every couple of weeks at the beginning, having planning conversations. Now, again, with the Julie's role filled, she is meeting with them really on a daily basis, right? So that's in a great place. So it is just the continued conversations. We meet with athletics on a regular basis as well to talk about how we're supporting our former student athletes, right? And engaging with current athletes, et cetera. So it's a lot of conversation. We are at faculty meetings represented, Adam is always sharing things there as well. We're in faculty chair meetings, right? So just wherever we can infuse ourselves into campus and have those conversations, we will. With the strategic plan, I will add, we did 2 presentations on campus that everyone was invited to, all faculty and staff. Both of those were really well attended. So, presented the highlights of the 5 priorities, some key task that would come from that, and then just inviting them to, reach out to us for one-on-one conversations, or if they needed support. And we have seen a huge shift since those 2 presentations of outreach from various departments asking for assistance. So we're on a really good trajectory. We still have work to do, right? You're never done, but we're headed in the right direction.
All those areas are represented on the task force for this. Ryan, the strategic planning process we go through is to involve people in the process so that they can be with us when we go to implement it. And you had Knowlton Center, 2 people from it. You had
we had admissions, student
affairs, athletics. We're all on that committee.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody moving in the same direction when it comes to engaging alumni and donors and other stakeholders, and sharing resources and collaborating on ideas. It's all part of making the trains run on time, right? And really chalking up some wins when it comes to engaging your stakeholders.
Well, and listen, it does not hurt when your chief executive is at every meeting, every conversation, right? Emphasizing what Alumni and Family Engagement is doing and how we can help and be a part of it. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails I get copied on that he's like, hey, well, Sallie's team can help you with this, right? All very positive, and it's all aligned with what our priorities are. So, I mean, that and, the senior staff with Greg Bader as the VP, it's just constantly aware. Folks are very aware of what we're here and what we're focused on doing and how we can help.
In the second half, Ryan, we should add a question to put Sallie on the spot. You get a little time to prepare, which is this: is that puts a little pressure on you to deliver. I'm sure that's, it's, when you have that kind of attention, you got to deliver. So let's talk about that in the second half too. I want to hear what Sallie's thoughts are on it.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do that. So we'll sign off and return after the break, if you're a podcast listener, with our bonus section with Sallie. And before we depart the live, albeit recorded today, to show Chris, we have our 50th episode of Alumless coming up in 2 weeks. How's that? And who are our guests? And let's talk a little bit about that.
I think that's the golden anniversary, right? 50th?
50th.
Yes.
50th episode. We have it's a Metrics Palooza conversation with 2 really interesting guests. So Jenny Cook-Smith from CASE, who leads their, it's now, so the CASE AEM and all the work they do in that area. What Insights, right? CASE Insights is the area that she oversees.
Yeah. Formerly AM Atlas, I believe, right?
AM Atlas, correct. Yeah, it's had a few different names. Jenny will tell us about that, but she's fantastic. She's going to be joined with one of our new partners, Ryan. We're going to announce more about this in a few weeks, but Melissa Shipke from Tassel we're forging a partnership with CMAC to create a bespoke engagement report for any client who wants it, so we can show depth of engagement, breadth of engagement in a nice dashboard style tool that Melissa's going to help us deliver for a few of our clients. We're in a pilot phase right now, but the 2 of them both have these incredible metrics-minded brains, and we're going to have a fun conversation on one of my favorite topics too, alumni engagement metrics.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Really excited. So many schools could use the help, whether it's sort of completing the case survey or, creating attractive dashboards that display your engagement activity results, or, building engagement scores for individuals and slicing and dicing those engagement scores to help in various ways. So we'll talk more about that in 2 weeks, but I'm excited about that partnership. All right. Well, we will be back after the break. If you are a podcast listener and if you are watching us live on LinkedIn or YouTube, we'll be back in 2 weeks with Jenny and Melissa. So until then, we'll say goodbye.
Thanks, Sallie. Great to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you both. Enjoyed the conversation.